I love that song. Hi, and welcome to Something to Talk About. I'm Linda McNamee, and as you saw from our introduction, we are talking about the recreation recap, just kind of seeing what's going on with Parks and Recreation, see how you can get outdoors and have some fun. And before you meet my wonderful guests, whom I think you already know, few housekeeping rules. We are live this evening, so if you'd like to give us a call, you can at 781-270-9199. You can always email me day or night at talk@bcattv.org if you have a suggestion for a future topic. I do want to thank the crew for this evening. John Vias and Chris Flaherty are staff members here, making sure that us volunteers behave ourselves and make sure everything runs smoothly. So thank you, Chris. Thank you, John. And I would also like to thank Juliana Maugrain and Jolie Atwood for giving up their Wednesday evening to come hang out at BCAT. So thank you both for coming. And last but definitely not least, I'd love to say thank you for Paul for staying home for Daddy Date Night. Except for there's no Daddy Date Night tonight because the kids are at summer camp far away. So, anyway, now, housekeeping aside, I would like to introduce my wonderful guests for this evening. Brendan Egan, who is the Director of Burlington Parks and Rec Department, and Kelly Lehman, and I hope that I got your title right, the Program Coordinator for Parks and Recreation. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us.
And we're already halfway through the summer, it seems.
We are. Program-wise, we are halfway through the summer.
So anyway, before we talk about Parks and Rec and all the fun and exciting things that you guys have in store for us and all the fun and exciting things that you've already done for us, can we back up a little bit and give us a little background on where you each grew up and how you came to the Burlington area and what got you involved in the Parks and Recreation Department?
Sure. Kelly,
So
ladies
kind.
before gentlemen.
You're so kind.
I just don't want you to copy my answers.
That's fair, or you want me to give you them. As a child, I grew up, we were a Parks and Rec family. We did all of the programs that our local recreation department had to offer. I grew up in a small town in New Hampshire, a small Raymond, which is, no one really ever knows where it is. Halfway between Manchester and Portsmouth is what I tell people.
Okay,
So
that works.
it's, southern New Hampshire. I grew up, like I said, going to programming. I volunteered for their recreation department and progressed there to become the assistant director of the department.
Oh, cool.
When I saw an opportunity in Burlington arise, I had just graduated from college and was looking for a new adventure. And I read a lot about Burlington before I applied and learned how supportive the community is of recreation. And it looked like a community that I could come and maybe make kind of a mark in. Yeah. So I applied and received the position. I started here in 2009, and I've been here ever since.
Yay!
Yeah.
Well, glad you decided to stick around.
Thank you.
Okay, your turn. And now, if you grew up in a small town in southern New Hampshire, then I'm going to know you're copying her answers.
I did not, but
Okay.
in utero, I was a recreation person.
Oh, there
No,
it
I'm
is.
just
There
joking.
it is.
So I was born in upstate New York, but my family moved out. I grew up in Connecticut. Started working for my local Parks and Recreation Department probably at the age of 13, keeping score, 14, keeping score at basketball games. When I was 16, I started working in the summer programs. I stayed local for a couple years for college and continued to work through programs. Wound up running that basketball league, and it just kept progressing. And I wanted to go to school for broadcast communications. It was ESPN had exploded in the 90s,
Exactly.
80s and 90s, right? And
And
more
it's
in
also
the
in
90s.
Connecticut, so
Right.
you wouldn't have a tough commute.
Exactly. But my bosses at the recreation department said, why don't you go into, teaching, phys ed, recreation? I never thought of Parks and Recreation as a career. And the more I thought about it, I'm like, you know what? I really enjoy what I'm doing. And, I love the rapport with people. I love the creation of new things, new programs. And I had some really good, bosses. So I went to school for Parks and Recreation. I met my wife, who's from Beverly, so that's how I got to this area. I worked in Amesbury for a year, year and a half, and then I had a nice long conversation with Dom Roberts one day on the phone. There was an opening, and that got me in for an interview, and I was here for 10 years and took a chance to go to Marblehead, Mass, where, a little closer commute, didn't have to fight that 128 traffic every day. Was the superintendent of recreation and parks there, and fortunately a job came open here at the top position, and I was lucky enough to be selected to come back.
Yay.
And
Cool.
so I've been here since
Now you're still
2014.
commuting to Beverly?
Yeah, but you know what? I know we'll probably talk about it later, but it was maybe the only bright spot of the pandemic, no traffic.
That's true.
But, I don't think that's the case anymore. We're backing up. So I live in Beverly with my wife. She's a teacher, and I have 2 kids. They're in college, and, we're just a busy family.
Absolutely. Cool.
And I have to mention my dog, Chloe. Sorry. She might be watching.
Okay. Yeah, your furry child. 4-legged
my
furry
dog.
child. Okay. Well, sometimes, dogs act like small children.
They do.
So, okay. So I can't believe it's been like 5 years since I last had the 2 of you as guests. But my memory isn't what it used to be, but Parks and Recreation, it used to be just Burlington Recreation, and then it became Parks and Recreation. And what exactly is your jurisdiction?
So there was always Parks and Recreation. We had
Okay.
There's a elected 5-member Recreation Commission. There are 3 elected as Recreation Commissioners, 1 that's elected onto the school committee and 1 elected onto the planning board.
Okay.
And then they're elected to those boards. Then they're appointed to our board.
Okay.
Or to our commission. Our Recreation Commission, as I mentioned, 5-member policy setting. There was always a recreation director and staff and a maintenance director and staff. And I think around the time you came on, they had gone to a director of Parks and Recreation position to oversee both, for cohesiveness and just the everyday running of the department. It just made, I think, things easier. So that's how Parks and Recreation came about. But it is an elected Recreation Commission that we answer to.
Okay. And it's all the parks in town, all the programs. Now, how does the school thing work? Because is it like the school playgrounds and the school fields, is that the school department or is that you?
So we maintain all outdoor facilities in town, school properties, and athletic fields, the town common, but we're not in charge of the town common. Simon's Park. There's lots of little, areas that, like small islands and things like that are,
like traffic islands?
Some traffic islands that are named, maybe veterans and things like that. We take care of those in all the parks.
What about the new pocket park? Is that you or is that somebody else?
That's not us. That's the Office of Community and Economic Development.
Yes.
Sorry if I said it wrong. So they work
just
with local businesses
threw
on
me
that
off
to get it
because
going.
it's got park in the name. So
We've done things down there. We've done activities and programs. So we try to utilize it. And then so we oversee all those things. We work closely with the schools on, they utilize town fields for athletics and events, and we utilize the school properties for our programs when we can. So there's that kind of partnership. We schedule and maintain all the fields. It all comes out of our budget. All the maintenance costs, all of that comes out of our budget. The schools are pretty good about, if we need some assistance, they've assisted with us in the past on projects. So that's our partnership.
that works.
Yeah.
That works. Pre-pandemic, when I had like real little kids, I always look forward to getting the Parks and Recreation catalog and flipping through and finding all the stuff that would entertain my children. They've gotten older and we've had a global pandemic. And I know the 2 of you and your staffs, your group did a phenomenal job adapting for the pandemic and for COVID and making everything, safe and socially distant. Now that it seems like we're coming out of that super caution level, how have you been able to adapt back to, I don't want to say normal because it's never going to be normal. Pre-COVID, yeah. How are you readjusting the readjustment?
Yeah. So I'm going to let Kelly take this on in a second, but I just have to say, as COVID developed, everything came out and more information was coming out and things shut down. Kelly was really responsible for taking our brochure that we had just put out, like literally had gone out in the mail 2 weeks before everything shut down.
I was about to say probably 2 days.
And she took it and gathered the program staff and said, all right, how are we going to make this, virtual?
Yeah.
Because we didn't know when we would get back together in person. And then our maintenance division, was tasked with going out and closing everything down out in the parks and, getting signs put together and caution taping things off and, just trying to make it as safe as possible and make sure the message was out there. And it was during a time where, we all thought it lived on things for a long time and,
we
you
didn't
couldn't
know.
touch anything.
And it was also only supposed to last for 2 weeks. So,
Right. Right. So
and Zoom was just a TV show on PBS, and now everybody's like, because when you first sat down to say, how are we going to do this virtually, most people weren't aware of the tools that existed.
Yeah, we took a look at what we could do safely in person. One of the big things we did was, it was March, and we had our annual Easter event. So we went ahead and we brought the Easter Bunny around in the Wegmans van, and we visited houses and, gave candy and eggs and treats to all of the kids that we could go see. We created a map and we brought them out and made sure everyone stayed in their yard and we were all socially distant and however we were supposed to do it. But from there, we looked at our programs and said, what can we do? We have a really great staff, out of the box thinkers when it comes to how we can bring programming to people. We want to be as accessible as we can. And what we did at the time is we took a look at social media. That was the strongest hold we had because Zoom wasn't really a thing at that point.
Yeah, exactly.
And so we did a lot of things on Facebook, on the Facebook platform, on the Instagram platform, and kind of built our audience there. And then when we could, the town got WebEx. I think they got a couple licenses for WebEx. So we started to do some online classes there. And, as we're starting to come out of the pandemic, some of the things that we did during the pandemic are staying. So we're still offering some hybrid fitness classes for people who might, snowbird and be away in the winters, but still want to take their fitness classes with their favorite instructor.
And there are still a lot of people that are afraid to go back out because of all the variants and, immunocompromised people.
Right.
I think I said that right.
Yeah. So we want to, something like that is something that we're keeping long term. We actually have one of our fitness instructors actually is in another state at this point.
Oh, wow. Okay.
They left during the pandemic, and they haven't felt comfortable coming back yet. But they teach every week from wherever they are. So theirs is fully virtual. So we want to make sure that we maintain options for all comfort levels across the board. We will have our large events. Celebrate Burlington's coming up. I'm sure we're going to talk about that. We talk about some other special events that we have, and we'll do those in person. But we still want to make sure that we still have a presence on social media. If people want to participate in that manner, they can. Okay. We're seeing an increase in the number of people who are actually out and visiting our parks and facilities across Burlington, but across the nation too. It's a national trend that people are just getting out more. They found parks and walking trails during the pandemic that they really loved, and they're continuing those trends moving forward. So it's great to see people out and accessing all that we really do have to offer.
Speaking of all you have to offer, I'm guessing that during the pandemic, the course offerings was reduced because some things you can't do virtually as out of the box thinking as you can. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
Have you been able to return the schedule and the course offerings back to that pre-pandemic level?
I think
As far as volume, not necessarily the same.
I think this summer we are close, if not there, to where we were pre-pandemic as far as our offerings are concerned.
And
I think the fall will be fully back up and operational to where we were pre-pandemic.
Excellent.
We kind of took a look at what we could implement and when we could implement it. And I think fall 22 was our goal to be back on track as far as the volume of programming that we're offering. But again, we have been trying to just add a little more and add a little more to get back to that level safely.
If you think about, we're offering virtual components now, so we're probably past where we were, but for the typical programs that we were running, having this fall as the target date to get back to. But yeah, we'll wind up with more because of the virtual component.
How has enrollment been? Because I remember, again, when my kids were really little, stuff was selling out and everything was waitlisted. Are you?
Our summer programs, we did very well in registration numbers. The first 6 hours, 8 hours, we made more money. We didn't make it. We brought in more money for registrations than the 2 prior years added together.
Wow.
So people were ready to get back out.
Yeah, everybody wants to get out and do stuff.
And as Kelly mentioned, we see more people using the parks, just going out and using the parks. More people in the parks than we had seen prior to the pandemic. So we have to up our game there too and make sure our amenities are what they should be.
You've been doing a lot of updates. Like, I live not so far from Egan Park, and I think it was it right before the pandemic? It was totally redone.
Mm-hmm. New playground.
So,
New pavilion.
New pavilion.
And that's a little pavilion now. I want a big pavilion.
But it's new, and it's bigger than the one that was there before.
And in a better spot.
And in a much better spot.
Accessible parking spots. We've been putting some gaga ball pits into our parks.
Yes.
We've had Eagle Scouts that have wanted to do those, so those have been great additions to our parks, and
hand sanitizer dispensers.
Thank you. Yes.
Yep.
Are there still I don't get out much, but still the suntan?
We still have sunscreen dispensers.
And we've added UV index meters to a couple of the parks.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know those existed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Great partnership with Leahy on both of those, sunscreen and UV index meters. So
they're great, though. We have one at Simon's and one at Wildwood, and they will tell you how long you can stay out in the sun before you need to reapply your sunscreen so that you won't have any kind of skin damage. They are very cool, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's pretty cool. Okay. What are some of the staple, and as soon as we're done with this, we'll get into specific big programs, but what are some of the staple programs that are still run? Like Club Simon's is always there, and social media is always talking about, hey, my kid's going to Club Simon's. Who else is going? And the waiting pool, do you still need to sign up for a time slot?
Nope. You just need to come in and get, as long as you're a Burlington resident, you need to come in and get a pool pass.
Okay.
And it has QR code on it. It'll tell you the hours if anything changes. Big in the QR codes now.
Yeah.
We have QR codes in all of our parks on our signs, that bring you right to our pages to get updated to our website. And, we're pushing social media. People like to get information quickly, right? And not a lot of extras in it. Just give me the facts. And as Kelly mentioned, our program staff who create a lot of the content are phenomenal in what they do. So they really keep us.
How big of a staff do you guys have?
Sorry. There's
2 programs. Three on the program division.
3.5.
Okay.
Part-time,
on the program division that plan all the programming. Wow. And then we probably have 150 part-time seasonal instructors or
Okay.
like camp staff or whatever it
Okay.
might be on our side,
Yeah,
on the
'cause you
program
have
side
Club
of the
Simons,
department.
but then you also have Park Place and
And middle school parks and gymnastics and summer discovery and jumpstart and our inclusion program for the summer is growing year after
Oh,
year,
wow,
which is
okay.
amazing and exciting for us to see and be able to accommodate. So
do you want to talk about that now, or should we come back to that later?
whatever you want. It's your
I'm
show.
actually kind of interested in,
I just don't want to forget our maintenance side. We have 9 maintenance staff
Oh.
on that side.
Sorry.
So we have, no,
I
that's
know
okay.
the programming side very
So,
well.
Yeah, and
didn't mean to, did
no,
not mean
that's all right.
to,
And then we have this year we have 10 seasonal staff for maintenance, trying to
Okay.
keep up with everything and trying to keep things maintained, do small projects, get ahead if we
fix
can.
stuff
But
when it breaks.
without our seasonal staff, our full-time staff wouldn't be able to stay on top of everything. So
Got it. And what season, is it like mid-May to?
we
Or
start
does
bringing
it,
on
like-
seasonals as early as April.
Okay,
There-
for all the baseball.
There's a limited season in which the seasonals can work, number of weeks, and then they usually stay on until the end of August.
Okay.
And then sometimes we've had some stay on into the fall, just
Okay.
because the fall is another busy season when the grass is growing and all the sports are on. We have to line all the fields. We have to maintain fields,
Okay.
and then there's still trash to pick up and lots of other items to do.
See, all the behind-the-scenes stuff that you guys take care of that,
I wish it was
we
we just
just
had to
don't
take care of Simon's
notice.
Park, but that's not true.
but there's a
There's
whole lot more.
280 acres of
Oh, acres.
properties around town.
I thought you were going to tell me there were like 280
Oh,
parks. I'm
no.
like, what?
properties
Oh, no.
to maintain around town. So
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot of space.
it is, and it can't all be done in 1 week. Can't all be done at the same time.
Nope,
It takes
that's
a little
true.
while. So
So I kind of missed the beginning of the summer for various reasons, but was there a Great American Camp Out this year?
there
It
was.
sure was.
There was.
And how
It
did
was
it go?
great.
It was awesome. It was awesome. Well attended.
Yay!
It's a national event that we
It is okay.
picked
I was
up
wondering if it was
6 years ago.
Now, is it like
and-
a specific day that's the Great American Camp Out where
So
everybody's
the
camping
National
at the same?
Wildlife Foundation used to have it be the last weekend in June as the Great American Camp Out. When the
Okay.
pandemic hit, they decided any weekend in June, but we've kept it the last weekend in June because it's tradition
Oh, okay.
there. And they now, post-pandemic,
Okay.
they're saying celebrate the month of June, either camping indoors or outdoors. And there's a couple hashtags that we use during the process. We have everybody sign the pledge saying we're camping outside. So
Okay.
120 people camped outside in Burlington
Oh,
on
wow.
the Great American Camp Out. And we're seeing an increase in the number of people who are interested in camping, and it's really cool to be able to pop a tent up in the middle of the baseball field that you played on
It is
earlier
really
in the
cool.
week, right? So kids and families love it. It's a great event. It's a little more low key than most of our big events.
Okay. But there's still a lot going on.
There
like
is, yeah.
games
We do
and-
games and we do backyard games. We have cornhole. We have like giant checkers and chess, or we do tug of war.
Ooh. How do you divide the
tug of
teams
war
for
events.
that?
It depends. We start with age groups, right? Because that makes
Okay.
sense. And then parents against kids, and it becomes very fun. We do like the old school like 3-legged race, those kinds of like
Okay.
games that you don't really play
See,
anymore.
Nobody plays anymore.
Potato sack races, but we use sleeping bags instead because it's a camp out, right? Like
'cause
a
it's camp
sleeping
out.
bag race, right? So
Do you have like a big bonfire and roast marshmallows? And
we
or
don't.
no?
We don't.
Okay.
We use we do dinner. Usually we cook burgers and dogs. So we use the grill to do s'mores. Usually it's like a s'mores cone, or like
Okay.
this year we did actual s'mores and just wrapped them in
Tinfoil.
some tin foil and just left them on there, and like they got melty and gooey and delicious, right?
Exactly.
So
How can you go wrong with,
so yeah,
chocolate,
no, it's a fun night, and one that I think is well received within the community.
We have a movie.
Oh, and we have a movie.
Who gets to pick the movie?
Usually me. Usually me.
Now, does the movie have to have a camp theme?
No, but
'Cause that would be hard.
That would be really, really hard. This year we showed Sing 2. I
cool.
think I get to pick it because I'm the only one who knows children's movies in the office. So like,
I want to watch
by
this
default,
movie.
right? I'm like, what are my nieces watching this week? And that's usually what,
There
is
you
on
go.
point. But yeah, no, we do a movie and kind of wind down. This year we had like constellation packets for families to like look at the stars and try to see some constellations. It's a little difficult.
Well, hopefully it wasn't cloudy.
It wasn't. No, it was a beautiful night. It was a beautiful night. But we try to add the little camping, scavenger hunts, those kinds of things.
Cool.
Yeah, it's a fun night.
Now, the fishing derby is another event that you guys did, but didn't you start doing that during your 50th anniversary celebration?
Oh, no.
Fishing festival's been going on for
Oh,
a
okay.
long.
See how much I pay
would
attention.
I would say at least 35 years.
Okay, Worms and I do not really get along,
Yeah.
so, fishing isn't a real...
Yeah, that's a
Real, I
great
see
event.
what she did there.
Oh, geez, I didn't even mean that. Oh,
That's a
sorry.
great event. We stock the reservoir every year. This year, we didn't stock until after, just the way the fish license came from the state and everything.
Oh, okay.
We couldn't stock before we had the license. And we try to stock it every year. It's not always in the cards, but we do stock it with 600 plus fish when we do stock.
Okay.
And rainbow and brown trout and just try to get it as full as possible. And they're pretty decent size. They're 6 to 8 inch when they go in.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
they're pretty good. You do get a fishing permit for the reservoir.
Okay.
You can get it in our office.
Okay, who has to get one? Because I heard something about kids under a certain age.
Anyone
don't-
over 18 and over has
18
to
and
get
over,
one.
okay.
Yeah, has to get a fishing permit and
I think you mean 15.
15. Did I say 18?
You did.
15. Sorry.
Sorry.
15 and over, and you can get it right in our office.
Okay. Is
Pretty
there like
simple.
a cost for it?
$10.
Yes.
That's not bad.
Yeah. So we haven't gone up, and then we use that money obviously
To
stock
stock
to
the fish.
stock the fish.
For
Yep.
next year.
But the event's great. More and more families coming. People who haven't fished at all ever and just want to try it. We have poles that they can
Okay.
borrow. We supply the bait. They go out, catch their fish, and then usually call us to take it off the hook for them.
That would be me.
And
And
they
measure.
measure, and we
And
measure,
measure.
and then we put it up on the board, and we have prizes, and then there's raffle prizes. So it really, in the 3 hours that the event is, or 4 hours altogether, it's
Fun.
Yeah, it's a good time. And when
ever
a
have
kid
to hold
catches a fish for the first time, it's like, magic.
What do
They
I
don't want to
do?
touch
What
it,
do I do?
but they're so excited to catch it. So
What I like is when people don't know where the reservoir is because we shuttle because there's no parking at the reservoir.
that's
So
true.
we shuttle from the middle school.
middle school.
And we have had families who have never been to the reservoir before. I'm like, I didn't even know this existed here, right? Like, it just exposes them to a new facility in town that they can come take a walk, they can go fishing. They
Now,
can
is that
do-
the grounds also something that's covered under your jurisdiction?
Actually, it's conservation department owns a lot of
Okay.
property up, or oversees a lot of property,
Okay.
and then the water department. So, the town is pretty protective of their water supply. You won't see boats or anything
No.
in the reservoir. So, sailboats or kayaks or anything.
Can't really picture a sailboat on Mill Pond Reservoir.
Yeah.
Seems,
Get a good gust of wind going across there, you can sail.
Okay. It just didn't seem like enough space for me.
Yeah.
But anyway, I guess I've been proven wrong lots of times. So, I noticed driving over here that there was a children's show on the Common.
Toe Jam Puppet Band tonight.
Ooh.
Yep.
There seemed to be a pretty healthy looking crowd over there.
They have a good following.
They do, yeah.
They do.
And
There's
they're
the
great.
Wednesday night and then Thursday noontime children's shows.
Mhm.
Are there ever repeats for like people who can't come during the daytime, like repeat performance, or are they always different? And
No, we do Wednesday nights at 6:30 on the Common, and then we do Thursday afternoons at 1:00 at Simon's Park.
Okay.
And they're always different performers. But we're hoping between the 6:30 and the 1 o'clock that we are able to catch a lot of families that
Cool.
way. And we've seen a good response to our concert series in general, the children's shows and the concerts on
Okay.
Tuesdays.
Oh my gosh, I love the concerts on the
This year, we seem to be having more people than we've had the last few years. So we're excited to see people coming back out for
Seems
them.
like a lot of new bands this year too.
There are a lot of new bands this year. Yes, we took a look at, who we had, and we talked to a lot of our colleagues in surrounding communities and said, hey, what bands work really well in your community? We'd love to be able to kind of change it up a little bit. Sometimes if you're going to see the same band every year, sometimes that could get a little old. So we wanted to freshen it up a little bit with some new bands. So we do have probably the majority of Tuesday nights concert series is full of new bands this year. So
Cool. Now, is there still the sponsorship? Like, tonight's band is sponsored by this business, or is it?
They're available. We have a whole sponsorship booklet, a community partner booklet that is on our website. We sent it to all the businesses at the beginning of the year, looking for, businesses call us a lot, all the time, and ask, how do I get involved in this? How can I do that? I want to be part of Town Day on the Common. We say, Celebrate Burlington, and then Kelly takes on that, and I do the sponsorship for the other things. So if they sponsor a concert, we usually let them have a table. They can give something away if they want, ask them not to sell anything, but their name goes out, as the sponsor of the concert. And
Cool.
so we have 4 concerts, I think,
4.
sponsored this year.
Yep.
And one person's, one company is sponsoring 2, I believe. And so it's just a good way for a company to get their name out. And, with the new bands coming on, we're drawing more, some more people. So it really is a chance to
Good
interact.
PR for the
Sure.
company or
Yep.
the sponsor.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Burlington seems to have a lot of businesses and companies that will reach out to the community and, form that relationship or partnership, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. And Celebrate Burlington, everyone wants to be involved in Celebrate Burlington. That's a great opportunity. But there are other opportunities throughout the year with our special events to be involved and to, really get your name out with things. Perfect example would probably be East Coast Tree when they donated the crane for the candy crane drop last October. That was like,
It was fun.
we were thinking 1,200 people we'd get, and we estimate 4,000 in the park.
Wow.
It was
Where was this? Simon's Park?
Simon's Park. It was
I didn't think you could fit 4,000
organized
You can't.
chaos.
people. You can't.
Organized chaos, yes.
We'll say.
Yep.
It took a while to get everyone.
How much candy did you have to
Understanding.
drop?
We had a lot of
It
candy.
was like 509 pounds.
Yeah.
I was about to say,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah. So
That's a lot of
it was a unique event. Kelly had done some research and found, what is it, Mexico or Texas,
Yeah.
something
Yeah,
like
somewhere
that.
in
It's like a
South.
giant pinata.
Yeah. And
Except ours was Superman throwing candy out to kids. It was amazing.
it was
It was
pretty cool.
so much fun.
So that was awesome. But so there's opportunities like that. So we try to give you an estimate of how many people will be at an event. So when people are saying, this is my core audience, we'll try to steer them towards certain events. So if you signed up, wanted to sponsor the candy crane drop, you got more than
More than you
you
bargained
for.
for.
So
On so many levels.
yeah, and the opportunities are great. They're family-oriented events.
So do you think the candy crane is going to be back?
I'm not going to say.
It's a
So
great
don't know.
question.
It is a
It will
very
be
good
way
question.
more organized if it is. Let me tell you that.
Well, I just wasn't sure if it was a one-time deal. And
Oh, it was so much
Good.
fun,
It
though.
was a
It was
lot of
so
fun.
much fun.
no pressure.
Very, very stressful, but also, very fun. So
But I do want to talk about Celebrate Burlington because that's coming up like real soon.
Sure is.
10 days.
So what can you tell me about it? Well, by the time this airs, it might not be 10 days anymore.
True.
We're live, aren't we?
We are live tonight.
Oh, but it
And then the
Then you
show
replay.
repeats Thursday, Friday, Saturday of this
Nice.
week, and then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday and on Celebrate Burlington.
Oh, look at
Well,
that.
there probably won't be a lot of viewers that day because
Probably
they'll all
not.
be at the town common.
Exactly.
Celebrating
Do you
I would
want
do
us
not
to stream
need-
it? Do you want us to stream it at Celebrate Burlington?
No, we do not need to
Okay,
put, no.
just checking.
But tell me about Celebrate Burlington.
Sure. So Celebrate Burlington this year will be held on August 6th. We are so excited to be able to bring it back
11
at
to
its
3?
11 to 4.
11 to 4.
11 to
Ooh.
4. We have the Carnival on the Common. From 5 to 7, we have the car show over at Simon's Park. 7 to 9, we will have Mo Bounce join us again. They were our performers from last year. They were amazing. We're so excited to have them back. And then at 9 o'clock, we're scheduled to have fireworks go off.
Fireworks.
Now,
Where are the fireworks being launched?
Here. Sorry,
The high
Burlington
school.
High School.
High school,
Yep.
okay. Because sometimes they're at the high school. One time I think they were behind the rec center. And
Yeah, a couple
I
times.
just want to know which
but
direction
it's-
to look.
Yeah,
Yep.
the high school.
The high school.
The high school.
Towards the high school.
Okay. So what are some of the things that are the same about Celebrate Burlington? Either activities or special guests or...
We have a number of sponsors who have sponsored year after year for us. Herb Chambers Family of Dealerships is once again sponsoring the fireworks.
Excellent.
Beth Israel, Leahy Health, Northeastern, and Fusion, the Fusion School here in Burlington are all gold level sponsors for us. So we promote them a little extra. And we're very grateful for their support. They've supported us the last Leahy for as long as I've been here.
Yeah.
Fusion School for the last 3 years, and Northeastern for probably the last
5
10
or
or so.
6, 10,
Yeah.
something like that.
So we're grateful to have partners such as them and Herb Chambers to be able to offer the event. Our event for Celebrate Burlington is free. All of the activities are free on the Common, which is something that we are very excited about. We love to be able to provide this event as a thank you to the community for all of the support they give us throughout the year. So you can come down. If you pack food for your family, you don't have to pay a thing, and you can go on all the things. We will have some food vendors there.
Okay.
We are limited on food vendors. I'm going to be honest about that. So far, we have.
Is that like a pandemic thing or just...
It's a short staff thing.
staff
So
thing.
maybe
Okay.
pandemic, like
Okay.
If they're running a restaurant and a food truck,
it's
Yeah.
the restaurant is the
No, I
priority.
get it.
It's
I
hard.
get it. Okay.
So we have
Kind of forgot about the whole...
staff.
I don't know how,
but so we'll have Alex Ice Cream will be on the Common, which he's always a favorite of families. Treasury will be on the Common. Treasury Indian and Greek cuisine will be there.
Yeah, okay.
Chick-fil-A?
Chick-fil-A will also be there.
Okay.
And that might be it
People
for
will
food
just
right now
have
that
to
I can
come
commit
and
to.
find out.
Yes.
That's right.
Yep. And then as far as activities are concerned, we will have once again the Pat Martirano Children's Performance Stage, which will
Okay.
have 4 different 45-minute performances for kids.
Okay.
Right now we have Big Joe the Storyteller, we have a puppeteer coming,
Ooh.
a magician, and I'm trying to remember the last one. I don't know it off the top of my head. I'm sorry. But
No,
also
that's okay. You'll just
scattered
have to come and find out.
scattered on the Common, we'll have some balloon twisters. I know some of the nonprofits are bringing cotton candy. Some of our
Ooh.
sponsors are also bringing balloon twisters and face painters. So stopping at those booths.
Oh, fun. Is there
for
still
a
going to be
fun
like
festival.
the trackless train and the bouncy?
Oh, we'll have a
things?
number of those.
Inflatables,
Yep, we're
yep.
still working with the company on the specifics for what's coming that
Okay.
day. But yes, the trackless train is kind of a staple for
That's
Celebrate Burlington.
exactly.
We are
my
working
favorite.
on getting some sort of animal situation. I'm not promising pony rides, but maybe a different kind of animal situation this year, where
Well, seeing that
They
it's so
might
dry,
be-
maybe you could get a camel or
they
something.
might be.
yeah.
I'm
be
gonna
good.
try. I'm gonna try. Where the animals might be in the shade a little more, and it might be
Okay.
like it's very hot.
I'm
so,
just joking
yeah.
about the camel.
I'm gonna try
Wow.
Okay.
If you have a connection, let us know.
though. But yeah, I mean, it's gonna be a great day. We're so excited for it. We're excited to be able to like put it forward at the capacity that it's typically put forward at, instead of trying to dial
Excellent.
back.
So BCAT will be there. Both,
Great.
I believe, as you know, they'll have their green screen
Right.
magic as always, to give everybody the opportunity to be on
Love
TV.
it.
And I've just asked to be co-host for the coverage of the event.
Oh, nice.
So I'm
that.
probably going to be hunting you guys
Congratulations.
down to talk to me
Sure.
and inspire everyone. So cool. Anything else you want to add about Celebrate Burlington?
I don't think so. I mean, I think it's going to be a great day. Families should come out, and
Yay.
we'll be on the common. Parking will be behind Town Hall, Simon's Park.
Okay.
We'll have Simon's Park lined for additional parking on the grassy area up front.
Okay.
So if, you know,
I think I already saw lines painted on the.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a baseball tournament, and we haven't had to cut the grass there lately, so
How
the lines have stayed.
They don't,
Yeah.
they don't go away.
So, you know,
There hasn't been rain to wash them away.
mhm.
Hey.
Yep.
There will be soon.
There will be.
Here's hoping.
Maybe.
There will be.
Okay. Truck Day is now under the jurisdiction of Parks and Recreation. Is
Yeah.
that coming back this year? Do you
That
know?
will be back on August 18th. So
September.
August.
He meant September
August
18th.
18th. September
Okay.
18th.
I'm like, usually
Thank
it's
you.
September.
September 18th.
It's aggressive.
So we,
It's been out in the sun too long.
you know, we have taken a larger role over the years in Truck Day. Alfie is the, you know,
He's the guru.
he is of Truck Day, and you know, keep getting calls at our office the last couple of years. You know, are you doing Truck Day? Are you doing Truck Day? Are you doing Truck Day? And you know, we worked with Al, and I think last year he wasn't ready to come back and do it, and we were just getting inundated with calls, so we took it on, and really turned out to be a great day. So if you're out there listening,
It's like one of
and
my
you
favorites,
you own some kind of truck that you would like to enter, you know, get a hold of our office, and
It's not
I'll
just
reach
Burlington, is it?
No,
You know, I remember like Somerville bringing some trucks
Yep.
in. And
Our DPW works really well with the other departments around to, you know, get them to bring trucks. So we have Woburn, Wakefield, I think was there, Lexington, and then we have a connection at Hanscom. So we had last year, we had that giant snow.
cool.
It was like this snow monster thing. It had a nickname, but it does
Snow
the
Monster
runways there.
sounds pretty cool.
It does the runways, and then of course, you know, the local contractors, landscapers.
They call the big cranes. And,
Yep, the tree companies have those giant cranes now, so they come out. And you know, we've had a couple different tree companies, so we are able to position cranes around different parts of the common. Tow truck
bonus
companies.
if they have a candy drop. Oh,
Oh.
did I say that out loud?
I don't know if we want to do that. And then, you know, the town's vehicles from the different departments, whether it's front end loaders, the Vector trucks, those giant Vector trucks that clear out debris from sewer lines and
Oh,
from work
those,
holes and
okay.
stuff. Yeah, giant vacuum trucks. Police, fire.
I was thinking of, you know, the street sweepers that we used to call when we were little,
Oh, yeah.
Hoover sweepers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be a good one to bring this year,
The
too.
street sweepers. Yeah.
So, but anyways, that is on September 18th.
September 18th,
And
okay.
an email will be going out if you participated last year. Will be going out. It really is another great day. It draws people from all over. Probably our second largest
It's like touch a truck.
attended event after Celebrate Burlington.
Of course.
So,
Maybe. Yeah. I was going to say the candy crane
well, the
drop.
candy crane
Oh,
drop
that was
Might
that
have been
was
a little
an
nuts.
That
That was
exception.
like a
This year, yeah.
one-time.
Yeah, it was a perfect night. Weather was great. People were antsy to get out and do something after kind
Now,
of being
did the
trapped.
crane thing? You know, sorry,
Gosh,
tangent.
So
Was the
much fun.
crane thing part of the whole?
Spooktacular.
Yes,
Yes.
spectacular. I'm like
Yeah.
Halloween.
Yes, spectacular. We also had a spooky walk, and businesses came.
What's that?
Um,
don't
instead of a haunted house, we did a spooky walk through the woods, and businesses got an area to
Ooh.
decorate in their scariest way, and we gave away sponsorship packages actually for this year.
What woods did you go through?
Just the woods
Simon's.
at Simon's.
Oh, like where the
like leave
the
behind the
Frisbee
waiting
thing
pool,
is,
and
and-
yeah,
behind the waiting
Yeah.
pool and out behind the garage.
Oh,
It was
okay.
nice. It was something different.
Okay.
We weren't in a building, tight, closed
Okay.
doors, right? Like it
Well,
was-
when you said spooky walk, I was thinking, you know, like overgrown, you know, so like
yeah, no, it was
every-
safe for people to walk,
okay,
lined with lights so that people knew where to go.
okay.
There's a path.
So
Yeah.
it was spooky.
That's right.
Yes,
Okay.
the different spots that businesses were decorating was spooky. They were some of them were really creepy. Some of
Ooh,
them were
okay.
a little more family friendly with Disney and
Yeah, I
like,
was about to say.
Mickey. Some of them were
want to
spooky,
have
so-
it G-rated.
Yeah,
So what are some of the other big events? The Christmas time. Well, not Christmas time. Santa. Do you guys have Santa come?
He does. We have a connection with him. He comes to start our tree lighting every year.
Okay.
But he comes early for breakfast with Santa. We have cookie decorating with Santa and Mrs. Claus. We have story time.
Yeah, story time with
Claus.
Mrs. Claus. A lot of what Brennan is mentioning as far as like our holiday events are concerned are virtual. So cookie decorating with Santa and Mrs. Claus was virtual. So everybody got a cookie package that they had to come pick up at the office, and they got frosting and decorations
Like
and
a cookie
cookies.
kit.
Yep. And they got to go online and decorate cookies with Santa and Mrs. Claus.
Yeah, sorry.
Mrs. Claus also read stories, like bedtime stories, at like 6:30, 7:30, and 8 for kids. So like they could log on for a half an hour, and Mrs. Claus would tell them a story.
Oh, neat.
So a lot of that, those items that he's referring to currently, we did photos with Santa twice now. The first time was in a giant snow globe. Santa was in the
I
snow
love
globe.
that snow globe.
And families were invited to stand in front of the snow globe and take pictures with Santa. And we kind of we had Grandview Farm decorated for when Santa arrived, and he could sit in the snow globe.
Cool.
And then we also had Santa last year join us at Grandview Farm, but in the tavern area, near a fireplace was the location that he picked. It felt most like home to him. So we did family photos in Grandview Farm with Santa, which was very well received by the community. But again, trying to measure people's comfort levels. It was a timed event where people were allowed to come in. Year one, we were calling them or texting them from our phone saying that you can come in now, one by one. Last year,
Still probably good to have like appointments, so it's not like
the big line thing we're trying to get away from as far as those smaller family events are concerned when we're inside during cold and flu season. We want to make sure that everyone is safe and feels comfortable coming. So those are some of the changes that we might see moving forward. Keep staying, right? Trying to think of ways that we can be a little more cognizant of like the big long lines and waiting for those kinds of events.
And my brain's kind of in a time warp. Is the winter carnival synonymous with the tree lighting, or is that its own separate event?
It's its own separate event.
Tell me more about that one.
Well, it's the coldest day of the year.
Every year.
Always.
Every year. Doesn't matter.
Windiest.
The windiest. We do pick what is probably the spot in Burlington that always has a breeze coming across, whether it's in the middle of the summer and it's a 90-degree breeze coming across, but the parking lot at Simon's Park. But yes, that is an event that we usually do in the beginning of February. That is ice cold. There's usually some visits from some characters. There's s'more toasting, making marshmallow toasting.
Because you got to warm
s'mores.
up because it's the coldest day of
A lot
the
of
year.
hot
Hot
cocoa.
chocolate.
A lot of hot cocoa.
We've had artificial ice events. We've had curling on artificial ice. We've had sledding if there's snow. It's usually cold. It doesn't mean there's snow.
No, that's true.
Sledding, and then chili cook-off we've had in the past. So,
the
that's
chili cook-off's part of that event?
Yes.
Yeah.
Something else to keep you warm.
I get
So,
it.
and then there's usually a scavenger hunt around Simon's Park. And I'm not sure if that one's coming back this year.
I am not positive.
Well, we still have months to figure all that.
That's
February seems so far away.
That's right.
It does.
It seems it.
It will be here before we know it, but right now it seems like an eternity. So some of the other stuff that you guys, therapeutic recreation, I was browsing around the website, and I think, Kelly, you mentioned earlier that program has been growing exponentially. What can you tell me more about that?
Do you want me to go?
You were going to talk about it earlier, and I sidetracked us. So
it's fine. So
go for it.
Several years ago, after Brendan came on, we hired our first therapeutic recreation specialist. Emma Jones is our current therapeutic recreation specialist. Her job if you haven't seen it yet, there's a great BCAP video of who works in Burlington.
I saw
That describes her and
on
shows
the
her every day.
newsletter, yes.
But I'm
digress.
here to tell you, Emma does a great job of providing inclusive and adaptive programming for people of all abilities across the community. Right around the time Brennan was coming back to Burlington, our department was talking about how a lot of our residents were going to other communities to receive services or partake in programming in other communities. They would have to drive a half an hour, 45 minutes to access programming that they should have access to here.
Okay.
So it is Emma's job to make sure that we are offering adaptive programming for people who have disabilities. Who
Are they
want
broken
to
down
be,
by age level like
Yep.
the other programs are?
They are. We have adaptive programming for elementary school age, teens, and adults. That those numbers are growing. They started with, we've always had an adult program. Our teens and youth programming has grown from the ground to having full programming all of the time with a wait list of people who are looking to get in. We are very excited to have Emma on board. She's great. She is also responsible for our inclusion programming. So providing support for people of all abilities to participate in any one of our recreation programs that we offer. So if you look at that book and you say, hey, I would like to take this Zumba class, but I might need some help with redirection, or I might need some help understanding the visual cues that are used within that class, you can give Emma a call and she can talk you through what we might be able to do to help support you so that you can take that class and that we can make recreation accessible for you across the board. So if you or a family member are in need of something, please reach out to Emma. She is amazing at what she does.
That's really cool.
And we want to make sure that, we're able to provide programming. One of our core values is that everybody belongs in Burlington, and we fully believe that everybody belongs in Burlington. We want everyone to be able to take our programs or recreate or use their leisure time in the way that they deem best, and we are there to support them doing that. So like I said, Emma is amazing. Please reach out to her if
Now, with Emma's programs, does she need to collaborate with the schools at all for like the younger kids, or she's got her own team?
There is some collaboration at times, but she develops the programming for herself.
She may, in talking with family members, she may ask to look at an IEP or some other information that the school has.
So there is a partnership.
So that we can support that participant in a similar way which they're supported in the school district, right?
Continuity, I love it.
So the parent is the one that often gives us that. She works and does intakes on every participant we have. She'll meet with the family, the participant, sometimes together, sometimes apart, just to kind of set some goals for what they want their recreation and leisure time to be able to fulfill for them. And then we go ahead and make recommendations or suggestions and put supports in place so that they can reach those goals.
All right. We have time for one more question. Can
we talk about the treehouse?
Absolutely.
It's not on your list, but can you talk about the treehouse?
Sure. Let's talk about the treehouse.
Do you know we're getting a treehouse?
No, that's why it's not on my list.
So, through our planning with the Simons Trust,
a real treehouse, in a tree.
Like an actual treehouse.
For those who don't know, there is a trust that supports the programming and some maintenance and upkeep of Simons Park. And each year we sit down with the trustees and we come up with a list of projects and activities and things like that. They go through them and ask questions, approve them, say, hey, we'd like some more information on this, or we don't want to do this. So they also said to us maybe 5 years ago or so, we'll fund a large scale project. And not just one light bulb, 100 light bulbs went off over Kelly's head. So one of them was a giant treehouse, like you see on the Treehouse Masters or whatever that show is on TV. So 2 years ago, 3 years ago, we talked to him about that. And 2 years ago, we started discussions. And a local family, mother passed away, the Gillingham family. Doug Gillingham was our maintenance director for 37 years or something. His mom, Natalie, used to work at our office. When she passed, he has 3 brothers. They got together and looking for something to do for their parents to get back to Burlington. And they wanted a list of things projects and things. And they really liked the treehouse. So the Gillingham family donated $100,000 to the creation of a treehouse. The Simons Trust is funding the remaining $120,000, $125,000. And we are going to have a 16 by 16
Correct.
kind of
Like
hexagon, octagon, up in Simons Park. There's some maple trees, oak trees that are to the left of the Visco building above the skate park in that grove there.
Oh, yeah.
So you'll come down the driveway and it will come up in stages, ramping. It's completely accessible. We're going to use it for programming for our Club Simons program, but throughout the year, it's going to be a nice added feature for people to just go enjoy.
Cool.
Any
So
ability can get up into the treehouse. So that is scheduled to start in late August. They're working on one in the Adirondacks now, and then they'll be coming back. They're from Vermont. They'll be coming back here.
Oh my gosh, I see why you wanted to talk about
Yeah.
that. This is so cool.
So it is. It really is. It's an awesome idea and a great amenity to the park. It's going to get people up. They can see a different part of Simons Park. Yes, they'll be able to go and look at the skate park and street hockey and tennis and pickleball, but they'll also get to see into the pines at a higher level and really
Become
provide
one
some
with the
good-
squirrels.
And the ramping up is also going to allow for you to be able to stop and kind of see where you are within the tree. Like,
Yeah.
it's very cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's so exciting.
Yep. We're very excited about it.
We are. So, just the ability to have something like that. It's not every community can have it. It's what makes Burlington stand out from other communities.
Well, for $200,000+,
Yeah.
that's gonna be a pretty sweet deal.
Yeah.
When's it? Okay, you said. I got so excited about this. You mentioned that it's gonna start
Third week in August. Third, fourth week in August.
Until what's the anticipated?
They said 8 to 10 weeks.
That's it.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, I was thinking 8 to 10 months or something.
No.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh.
So.
Before the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yep.
Cool. Now, would you want to go up in the wintertime, or is that?
Why not?
Oh, because it might be cold. And
It
It's
might
Simons
be.
Park, the wind blows there all the time. Whether
That's
you're
true.
standing on
Okay.
the hill or in a treehouse,
That's right.
it's going to be equally as cold.
Well,
But yeah.
I love that.
Yep.
That's a great note to end on because we are out of time.
Okay.
But thank you guys so much for taking time out of your schedule, and I know that you're feeling a little under the weather, and thank you for sticking it out. And I loved our conversation. I'm like really excited now. So thank you very much, and I also want to thank everyone at home for tuning in this evening. I hope you found our conversation as exciting, and hoping you're willing to get outdoors. And I will see you at Celebrate Burlington, and I will see you around town. Good night.